For all families, the process of applying to higher education, especially abroad, is a huge investment and a huge risk. We have the context for the familiar institutions locally, right? What kind of institution is it? How do people view it? But how do we have trust without familiarity? This brings us to our next myth. Students could be scammed by a college or university offering illegitimate credentials. So, yes, they could. No. So whenever there's any kind of agreement being made or payment being made or a service being offered sight unseen, there is inherent risk. But thankfully for US higher education, there is easy ways to confirm the credentials of the university that you're applying to. The process is really simple. In the US, there exists a concept called accreditation. Accreditation is the peer review process of confirming the validity of different degrees and different credits offered at any institution. The bodies that issue accreditation for any program or institution are the US Department of Education and also a separate organization called the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. Both of these institutions have searchable websites where you can search the accreditation of programs and of institutions. Accreditation is offered in different ways. It can be offered by regional bodies, so for instance, Northeast or Southwest, national, where the accreditation is recognized throughout the whole country, specialized for certain areas, for instance, engineering or teaching, and professional for other areas of study. How does a person check the accreditation? Well, in most institutions, the accreditation will be listed on their website. It's a point of pride and a point of actual legality for many institutions, so it will be listed on their website somewhere, but the websites of US universities are all laid out in different ways. It can be kind of hard to find. Many of the search tools that we use to search for individual institutions, like the Big Future College Search, they will have the accreditation of the university or accreditations listed on the profile page of that institution, and you can double check to make sure that they're up to date. Likewise, if you're interested in looking for a list of institutions that are accredited in a specific area or a specific profession, you can go to the CHIA website or the Education Department website for the US and search specifically for that area and come up with the current list of institutions that have a valid accreditation in that area. So if you're convinced that the institution that you're applying to is legitimate, right, then how do you decide which institution to apply to? Which one is better, right? Myth. The ranking of a university is the best way to determine its quality. I wholeheartedly disagree. And part of our Education USA policy is that there is no universally recognized ranking system. Right? Rankings are issued by different organizations, different publications, based on a variety of different subjective and objective factors. And there is no final ranking of universities in the US. Part of this being that there are just so many factors at play, right? You know, take any two high-quality institutions, one of them is not necessarily better than the other. They're just so different from each other. It's comparing like apples to oranges, as we like to say. Well, then what metrics can you use to measure the quality of a program or of an institution? There are different factors. Typically, universities will contain these statistics on their pages. Different websites, such as the College Board site, are going to also include certain statistics that really kind of give you a clue as to the quality of the program. Sometimes people base it on the faculty and the resume of, the professors that are teaching there. That's one factor. Another could be the professional kind of organizations or the companies that are attached to the university and that provide partnerships as far as internships or practical experience are concerned. Another factor that many people refer to is the student-teacher ratio. Of course, there are many great institutions that offer large lecture-style classes, and sometimes this is a great way to get across the information. However, for those families that are looking for a more individualized approach, they might look at institutions with a lower student-to-teacher ratio. One of the most convincing ways to reflect on kind of the result of the education that a person is getting is to look at where are the alumni of those institutions now. Of course, an education is not the only factor that, indicates professional success later in life. However, by looking at the places that the former students have gone, at the different programs that they've participated in after graduation, you can really get a clue of what that university is preparing you for.